Hello everybody, Mike here. I'm going to show you what I would consider to be some of the most broken cards of this format. With the new format coming shortly and the ban list debates being continuous for the past few weeks, I thought it would be important to mention all the cards that I thought were pretty busted. Some of them are much more obvious than others, and some of them are iffy even to myself. Black Luster Soldier, an easily summoned 3000 monster that can attack twice or banish monster. It's out to any problem, and it can also push for game really easily. Things like this don't really belong. I think they just create too simple of wins. Like, you shouldn't be able to win just by summoning one monster. It's just not really fair. Dark Arm Dragon, I think, is pretty busted. Summoning condition, I mean, 3 Darks in the Grave can be hard at times, but sometimes it's just there always for you. And its ability to just give you instant +3s, it just doesn't belong. Gores, this one's a little bit iffy to me. I think it plays a very important role in preventing people from being, too aggressive. And in this format, I think Gores should almost go to 3, because the way it's going to be next format, I could imagine hell. Like, it'll just be OTKs. You're going to see Heretics launch, and they're going to be pushing for game very quickly. Gigantos will be with their ultimate offerings. It's just questionable if there's enough to stop these kind of plays in the future. Hornet's pretty busted. Not alone, but with the Centipede Dragonfly plays, I think the pluses it creates and the defense it creates after the pluses by being able to go Z-mains is just an unfair advantage. And the reliant, and honestly, I feel like this card morphed the format the most, like Inzektor's morphed the format the most, more than Dino Rabbit, really, because it made people not want to run D-Prison anymore. And people at one point were running 2 or 3 D-Prisons in every deck, and they were comfortable with that. But the second Inzektors came out, it just changed everything. Also, people were only maining double Veiler before, because the most you had to really fear was the plant plays. But now it's like you have to run the triple Veiler, or Inzektors are just going to stomp all over you. Moving on, I feel like Treeborn Frog is also a very broken format, and it's even going or not format card, but it's going to even get more broken as the next format comes around. It is a +1 every turn, instant tribute fire for Monarchs, which create more pluses. I just feel like the card is really, it's just the disadvantage of not being able to have backfield does not outweigh the advantage I think Treeborn gives you. The fact that you can create a deck based around it, that the whole point is to just create card advantage and just dominate the field. I just feel like this card, I don't think Treeborn itself should get hit. I really feel like Swap Frog should get hit. I could see Swap Frog getting hit to 1, but I'm afraid that would just stomp some of my favorite decks. I'm not biased. I can hate on some of my favorite decks, and Sea Lancer and Frog Darks are some of my favorite decks. Dark Hole, I don't think this card's actually good that format, mostly because Dino Rabbit has outs to it, Inzektors have outs to it, Chaos Dragons have outs to it, so it really doesn't create an advantage like it used to. It's just, I mean, field presence is really important right now, but the way people are protecting them and the way people like maintain field balance or field presence, it's just a lot different than it used to be. Future Fusion, this card, its effect itself, the summoning a monster, is not that busted. It's more the ability to send 5 monsters grave. It's like Painful Choice. I'm really sad to see this card go because I really enjoyed Disaster Dragons, but with Chaos Dragons marching around, it's just not viable. And more importantly, with heroes, getting the Dark Hero and everything, it creates more OTKs in their favor also. Heavy Storm. This is another one of those cards I believe completely morphed the format. People don't run as much backfields as they used to unless they have cards that will protect it. Dino Rabbit has monsters and Starlight Arrow that protect it, so that is why they are one of the only decks this format that runs massive backfield. And this sucks because people in this format feel like they have to main triple MST, and the only reason you feel that way is because of that deck. So you're making triple Veiler, triple MST for 2 completely different decks, and pretty much the cards are dead versus the other deck. it's really depressing, and I think that's probably one of the downfalls of this format, is decks that force you to main deck against them. Moving on, you got Miracle Fusion. This card's mostly busted because of this card. This card is +2 all over it, and you're probably going to get another plus because this is going to run over some shit. People are started main decking for this deck also because of how broken this is. Soul Takers, main decking Soul Takers. If it was just for Light Pulsar, you wouldn't main deck Soul Taker. You only main deck Soul Takers because the Shining and Light Pulsar. It's a 32 beat stick too. That's real tough to get over. This card, I honestly believe should have been banned this next format, and I don't think it's going to happen. That's upsetting a little bit. But the fact that this card can turn games around even better than I think Dark Hole can, it's just ridiculous. You can Monster Reborn your Blackluster Soldier, you can Monster Reborn that Inzektor after your opponent veilered your Inzektor, warning it, and you can just turn the whole game around and just blow things out of proportion. Not fair. Needs to go. Macrocosmos, this card, I just feel like any deck that can run this card like consistently and have it not interrupt their plays is going to have an instant advantage over every deck in the format. And pretty much every deck in every format since like Glad Beasts were good. Most meta decks revolve around the graveyard. Without the graveyard, they're done. I think this card is one of the main reasons Dynarab is completely broken. Because any meta deck, and I use that term meta lightly because I don't even think the deck's that good, but any deck that can run this card and then still create huge advantages with Loggies and Dolkas, it's just not even going to be fair. It's also scary when a really popular strong deck can main macro, because at that point it's a stun deck. When the popular decks, when like I use this term lightly, the top tier decks are stun decks, that screws the format up, because when everybody's playing stun, well, how do you beat the stun deck? So you have to play stun also, so then everybody's got to play Dino Rabbit. And it's just really unfair, in my opinion. Another broken card is Ultimate Offering. I only think this is broken because of gadgets and Shockmaster and things like that, honestly. I could see the card staying at 2. I don't think it will stay at 2, but I wouldn't really care if it stayed at 2. I think your Gatos and Machine decks are never actually going to beat, like, real strong, mostly because Cyber Dragon and System Down are both at 3, and those decks demolish Machine decks. It will prevent them from ever being top tier, because at one point, if they ever get that good, people are going to main or side triple Cyber Dragon, triple System Down, side them in every time, and they draw one of those cards, it's game over. Also important to note is Loggia. It's guaranteed +1 basically, which is not really fair in any sense. I would like to see this card get limited just so Dynarabbit can't go into it every time and they actually have to go into other Exceeds. But yeah, that's basically my opinion of the most broken cards. I would like to hear your opinions. So if you want to comment below about those or perhaps send me a message, I would love to see them. Alright, well, have a good one, guys.